Good afternoon, Success Academy, Union Square Scholars. Mr. Vanderpool back with another video. So excited to see you guys again. Let's get right into it. Last week, we discussed check and one, right? The objective of the game is to checkmate the king, never to capture the king. I need to always see those kings on the chessboard, okay? So check and one, putting that king in danger. Putting the king in danger based on how the pieces capture. Remember, for that tricky pawn, pawns move forward, but they capture and send checks on diagonals. Okay? So today I want to talk about getting out of check. And there are three major ways, three things we need to do to get out of check each time our king is in danger. Think of it as Super Mario. If anybody has ever played Super Mario, Princess Peach is always in the castle and always needs saving no matter what. There's nothing else we can do. The objective is to save Princess Peach. So that's what we must do with our king. It doesn't matter what your idea is. It doesn't matter what your plan is in chess. It doesn't matter what moves you want to make. You must get that king out of check. So let's jump right into it. Out of check. You are in check and you must escape or block the attack. Now, ignore that because in chess, we use three things. We use capture, we use protect, we use run away. I cannot breathe. I need CPR. Capture the checking piece, block or protect from the checking piece, or run away. Use your king to run away from that check. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Right now, based on this red arrow that we see, this queen moves, right, on ranks, files, and diagonals. So right now, which line is this queen giving a check? On a rank, on a file, or on a diagonal? Excellent job. I agree. We are giving a check on a file. Now, remember, files are your letters. So which letter is this queen giving a check on? Excellent, the E file. And just for my super duper bonus, what square is the queen on? If we look for our letter, we look down for our letter, we look side to side for our number. Letters before numbers. Yeah, E5. E5. This queen's on E5 and sending a check to the king on E1. So right now, we don't have many options. There's no way we can capture this queen right now because the king only moves one square at a time. So if we move one square at a time, there's no way we can capture this queen on E5. Protect. In order to block a check, we're going to need a second white piece on the board. We have to put a piece to sandwich in between this check that the queen is sending to this king. And right now, there's no piece we can put in between this check to stop the check from happening. So that means there's only one option here, and that means to run away. Now, based on my arrows earlier, we have picked some really interesting squares to run away to. So is F2 and F1 a safe square? Yeah, I agree. The queen is not sending a check on the F file, sending it on the E file. So any square right now on this F file is pretty safe to me. How about D2 or D1? Agreed? Yeah, the queen's not sending a check to these squares. If we draw all of the queen's lines, we'll quickly realize that she cannot touch us on these squares. How about the square E2? I think E2 is safe. No, you got me. Good job. Sending that check so the queen is controlling E2 as well. So we can move away to these four green magical squares to protect ourselves. Excellent. Now, let's escape with the king again, okay? Now, right now, we have to identify the check. We can never ever continue to play chess until we are able to identify when we are being checked and when we are being attacked. So right now, this white king is in danger. He has this little red like makeup around his face, right? So this red little splash here tells us that we're in check. We're in danger. This is a problem and we need to save our Princess Peach right now. Which piece puts this king in danger though? Because if we think it's the knight, then that's going to change where we may be able to move. But the knight doesn't move like that. 1, 2, turn. 1, 2, turn. So the knight's controlling those two squares, so no way he's hitting my king. Let's try the bishop. Yeah, I think my bishop is on the dark square, and I can only control the dark squares and attack on the dark squares. My king's on the light square, so I think I'm okay here. Let's try the queen. The C file. Yes, this queen is controlling the entire C file. So all these squares on the letter C, this queen controls right up until this knight. Okay, so we need to move to a safe square. Based on our knight, we remember, 1, 2, turn, that this is not the safest square for our king. We cannot go here. The knight controls the square, as well as the square B5. The knight also controls B5, so that's not going to work for us. So this is off limits. The queen stops C5 from off limits. D5 is off limits because of the knight. Let's try all the squares around the king. How about B3? I think that's a safe square. Totally right. The queen attacks diagonally. So that means D3 is also not safe. We talked about the queen controlling the entire C file, so we cannot move backwards to C3. So we have 2 squares left, B4 and D4. Let's first talk about D4. I think D4 is safe. What do you guys think? If you disagree with Mr. Vancepool, be sure to use evidence to prove why you think that's not a safe square. You're right. If we move over to D4, this bishop is diagonally controlling this square D4. So the king would be in check. You wouldn't capture the king. Remember, the king would be in check. Okay? King's in danger. So that is not a safe square for him to move to. How about the square B4? Yeah, I think B4 is pretty safe here. If we go to B4, the bishop doesn't control diagonally. The queen doesn't control diagonally. The queen's controlling these light squares. The queen doesn't control on the file. And the knight is a little too far to get to this square, D5, B5. So B5 is correct. Now, defend your king. The king cannot escape, but you can block the attack. So right now, this is a ladder check. It would be a checkmate if white didn't have any other pieces besides the king on the board. Here's why. The black rook on G6 is controlling the entire G file. So no matter where the king tries to run away to here, on G4, G3, or G2, the king would be in, the king would be in check. And we cannot move into illegal positions in the game of chess. That's not going to work. This rook on H7 is the attacking piece, right? So this rook on G6 is the helper piece. It's helping keep the king at the edge of the board. And this is my attacking piece, this H7 rook. It's controlling all the squares on the H file, including the square I'm on, which is H3. So my king is in check. I indeed have to do something about this check. We could move backwards. But if we move backwards, would our king be safe? Nah, the rook would still be controlling. And we already discussed running away to G4, G3, and G2. So remember, I cannot breathe. Capture, protect, run away. We cannot do the capture part because this king is way too far. 1, 2, 3, 4. We know the king only moves 1 square. And unfortunately, our rooks don't move in this weird direction. Look how it's crossing over squares. That's not okay. So let's talk about blocking. Can we block? Can we block this check? Is there a way to put a piece in between this rook and this king to stop our king from being attacked so much? Yes, you can move the rook on the rank, on the 4th rank, all the way over to H4. And now I have a soldier in front of my king to protect me. Excellent. We're out of check. You can get out of check by taking the attacking piece as well. So right now, our white king's in danger. So right now, I just want you to identify which piece puts this king in danger. I agree with you fully that this bishop on D5 is a huge problem. It is diagonally controlling the light squares and attacking my king on A2. Now, let's do CPR. We're going to leave capture for the end, but let's go skip to protect. Technically, there is a way we could block this check. We could put a piece on one of these two circled red squares to block the knight's check. 1, 2, turn. However, that's not the best move because right after, the bishop will capture, and this is going to be a checkmate because there will be nowhere else for you to move. Let's talk about run away to better explain. Right now, this king cannot run away anywhere safely. If my king goes to b3, will it be safe? Nah, the bishop continues to control the square b3 on this diagonal. How about a1 or a3? I agree, the knight controls these squares. 1, 2, turn. Make it easier for you. 1, 2, turn. We also have 1, 2, turn. So the knight controls these two squares. There's no way for me to run. So if I block, that's not going to work. Ooh, that's incorrect. Regardless, that's incorrect. That is incorrect. We technically did get out of check, but we need the best way to get out of check. If my knight moves to the square and the bishop captures, there's no way I can capture, protect, or run away, and that would be checkmate. So that is absolutely not the answer we want. In fact, we want the best answer. We want to find a way to capture this bishop. We want to take this bishop off the board. So now we have more material and we're winning in the game. I agree. This is the best move. 1, 2, turn, capturing this bishop and stopping the check to your king. Much better answer. Ooh, let's try this tricky one here. Okay, so the knight is checking through your defenses. The beauty of a knight is that knights jump over pieces, and so do their attacks, their threats, and their checks. So right now, this knight is 1, 2, turn. 1, 2, turn, attacking our king on e1. There's no way to run away. This king is smothered in. This would be called a smother's checkmate if we couldn't get out of this mate. Okay? This king has no way to run. He's surrounded by the 3 pawns, the bishop on f1, and the queen on d1. This person did not develop their pieces. Okay? Let's talk about blocking. The beauty of CPR is that when it comes to a knight, you cannot do the P. You cannot block a knight's check because just like a horse, my attack is going to gallop over you and still attack your piece. So there's no way to block a check. Let's talk about capturing. We need to get rid of this knight right now. There's nothing else we can do. We can't think about moving our queen or moving our other pieces until we get out of this check. How can we capture this knight safely without being in check any longer? If you use the pawn on e2 to capture the knight on f3, normally you would be correct because pawns do capture on diagonals. But right now, this pawn is something we call pinned. If this pawn moves diagonally to f3, this big bad queen on e8 would be putting the king in danger. So this pawn is stuck to this e2 square or the e file. He could move up, but right now you would still be in check. So there's one more way to capture this knight. I agree. 1, 2, turn. And horses gallop over horses. Give me that. 2 more very quickly. We're going to escape with the king, or we're going to find a way to capture, or we're going to find a way to block. We're going to do something to get out of this. So I would pause my videos for these last 2 examples and really try to figure them out without Mr. Vantaboo's guidance. Right now, your job is to identify what piece puts the white king in check, and whether we can capture, protect, or run away to save our king. Okay, if you chose the knight, 1, 2, turn, attacking the king, you are absolutely correct. Kiss your brain, excellent job. Capture. Now, right now you're saying, Mr. Vantaboo, but the pawn could just capture the knight. But if you think about my last example, in pins, right now this pawn unfortunately is stuck to this square because if it captured or moved up, the rook would be putting this king in check, in danger. So we can't capture. No, capturing is not going to happen. What was that fun fact about knight checks? What can't you do? The C, the P, or the R? Right, you can't protect. You can't block a knight's check. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to put a piece in between this knight and king because my check is going to gallop over anyway. So lastly, let's talk about running away. Now, we need to first identify one square away every way this king could move. So first, I'm going to highlight all of these squares mentally in my head and say, these are the squares my king could move to, but let's see if they're safe. C4, C3, and C2 are not safe because which black piece controls the C file? Yeah, the queen. So those are off limits. Let's talk about D4. I agree, the queen attacks diagonally. Let's talk about the square E2. I agree, the knight 1-2 turn is controlling the square E2. So the only logical square here is E4. Last example for today, my friends. So right now, again, you need to pause your videos and identify which black piece puts the white king in check. I agree, this bishop, it starts on the dark square, it stays on the dark square. I'm controlling, okay, the entire H8 to A1 diagonal, which is a really long, big diagonal. So let's talk about capturing first. Right now, I don't see how this knight is going to move this way. That's not a 1-2 turn, silly goose. This is not a 1-2 turn, so there's no way we are going to be able to capture. Pawns capture one square diagonally, so that's not going to work for us either. And we know kings move one square at a time. Blocking. Let's talk about blocking. We could protect it, actually. Is there a way to put a piece in between this bishop and king to save our king? Yes, 1-2 turn. And this is absolutely, that is absolutely correct. But let's go back really quickly because I want to make sure that there are no other ways to get out of check in this last example. Now, running away is very important here. The bishop controls all the dark squares. However, this queen is controlling all the light squares. So I cannot move to C2 or B3. I also cannot move up to C4. The queen also controls this magic square of B4. I cannot move to B4 because the queen is also controlling. So again, the only answer here is to block with the knight. Excellent job today, guys. You guys rocked it. Absolutely rocked it. So proud. If you like these videos, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Sharing is very important. Share it with your friends in class that also like chess. Share it with your cousins or family. Share it with mom and dad and help them learn the game as well. Remember, lichess.org, lichess.org is the best place to be playing chess. Lots of free things on here. Until next time, my friends, continue to play chess and most importantly, continue to be safe.